Hello students. Hope you all are fine. So today we are discussing the next chapter, uh, challenges before Indian economy. It is a RBI. It is for the class 10th economics chapter RBSE board. So let's begin with the chapter. See, first of all, we'll discuss about the inflation. What is the meaning of inflation? I'll tell what is inflation. Inflation means rise in the prices at a very higher rate. It is increasing at a very high rate. See, inflation can be defined as the rise in the overall price level in the economy, that is rise in prices of the goods and services. When prices rise, it erodes the purchasing power of the money, and or we can say it is a situation in which there is a persistent and appreciable increase in the general level of the prices. So now we'll talk about the inflation in India. Inflation is the greatest economic concern which has gripped India into a jagged tentacles. India has been plagued by the disease of inflation since 1950s. It has started showing its prominently harmful symptoms and its ill effects since 1991, post-liberalization period. Kick started by the fiscal crisis of 1991, marked by the deficit in the governmental finances and devaluation of the rupee. A whooping inflation took its toll on the Indian economy. So it is increasing day by day. So how we can measure? There are three methods: WPI, CPI, and GNP deflator. See, first is change in price index, CPI is consumer price index, WPI is wholesale price index, and third one is the GNP. GNP is your gross national deflator. These are the three methods by which we can measure. What is this inflation rate? See, the rate at which the prices go up is called an inflation rate. For example, now see the example, understand it carefully. If the price of something is rupees 100 this year and the next year price will approximately becomes 104, then the rate of inflation is 4%, obviously, because earlier it was 100 but it was increased to 104, so that means 4% is your inflation rate. If the price of something is 80, then after a year the rate of inflation of 4%, the prices go up by, so we can calculate 80 into 1.04, that is 83.2. Similarly, these are some of the reasons by which we can say how the inflation or the rise in the prices increasing during 2007 to 2009. Increase in the prices of coal, crude oil. Economic recession is also developed in the developed countries also. Major factors, these are the major factors by which we can say that our economy is facing. At present, we can say these are some of the reasons of the inflation: increase in money supply, deficit financing, increase in government expenditure, inadequate agricultural and industrial growth, rise in administrative prices, rise in import prices, and the tax prices. Now, what are the disadvantages to our Indian economy from this inflation? There are many advantages to our Indian economy. First advantage is an increase in the opportunity cost of holding money, uncertainty, and if the inflation was rapid, shortages of goods as consumers begin hoarding out of concern that prices will increase in the future. So what consumers will do? Consumer will keep a record, or they will keep a stock of the goods. Now, what are the causes? There are 5 main causes of the inflation: demand pull, cost push, devaluation, rising wages, and expectations. What is now? We'll begin with one by one. First is demand pull inflation. That means due to the inflation, our demand curve rises up. You can see here. According to the classical economist or monetarist, inflation is caused by increase in the money supply, which leads to a rightward shift in the negative sloping aggregate demand curve, and given a situation of full employment. So change in money supply brings in the equiproportionate change in the price level. So here you can see the demand curve is going upwards. Next is cost push inflation theory. In addition to aggregate demand, aggregate supply also generates the inflation process. As inflation is caused by the leftward shift of the aggregate supply, we call it as CPI, consumer cost push inflation. It is usually associated with the non-monetary factors, that is, it is not related to the money. CPI rises due to increase in the cost of production. Cost of production rise due to rise of cost materials and increase in the wages. Third is, this is a curve you can see. So increase in the costs are passed on to the consumers by firms by raising the prices, rising wages due to rising cost. Rising cost leads to rising prices, and rising prices again leads to the trade unions to demand the higher wages. Thus inflationary wage price spiral starts, and this causes the aggregate supply to shift to the leftward side. See, earlier in the first point we have done that aggregate demand goes upwards, rightward shift, and now in this second cost pull inflation theory, there is a leftward shift of the aggregate supply curve. You can see here. Now the next is measures to control inflation. There are three main measures. First is monetary measures, second is fiscal measures, and third is price control. Now let's begin with the first measure. First is monetary measures. In monetary policy, the central bank increases the rate of interest on borrowings for commercial banks. As a result, commercial bank increases their rate of interest to save the money instead of investing in the new ventures. This would reduce the money supply in the market, which in turn control the inflation. Apart from this, the central bank also reduces the credit creation capacity of the commercial banks to control the inflation. Second measure is fiscal measures. Apart from the monetary policy, government also uses fiscal measures. The two main components of fiscal policy are government revenue and the government expenditure. In fiscal policy, government controls inflation either by reducing or by decreasing the government expenditure or by using the both. Third is price control. Another method to remove or to reduce the inflation is preventing further rise in the prices of the goods and services. In this method, inflation is suppressed by the price control but cannot be controlled by the longer term. In such a case, the basic inflationary pressure in the economy is not exhibited in the form of the prices. For the short time, such inflation is termed as suppressed inflation. These are the major challenges before the Indian economy. See, in our country, every fourth person is a poor. There are 2 to 3 measures, or we can say there are 2 to 3 factors by which we can say our economy is still backward. Like first is poverty, unemployment. Unemployment rate is increasing day by day, as now due to lockdown also there are so many people who become jobless. Each and every citizen of our country has a right to lead a decent life. Everybody must be able to fulfill his minimum needs such as food, clothing, housing, education, etc. India is a poor country, as you all know. There are large number of people who cannot afford all these things. The matter is made worse due to the fact that economy does not provide adequate employment to these people. Third is similarly higher quality of life is achieved by getting the proper education, and if people do not access to proper education, their standard of living is low. Achieving economic growth every year is also a major challenge before the economy. So these are some of the challenges before our Indian economy. Poverty is there, unemployment is there, lack of educational facility is there, lack of medical facility is there. So see, now we'll discuss about the poverty. What is poverty? Poverty is when a person is not able to get the basic needs. Or according to the Planning Commission, anybody who is not able to get 2,400 kilocalories from food, that particular person is under the category of poor. We have two types of poverty, absolute poverty and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is the state in which a person is deprived of the basic needs, and in relative poverty, it is measured such as the dependent on the income and consumption of a particular people. It is a condition when people is unable to reach the minimum average living standard in the society. That means that person is not able to access to the proper standard. Now these are some of the measures of poverty in India. How can we measure poverty? How can we reduce poverty? Speedy development of infrastructure, accelerating the human resource development HRD, growth of non-farm employment, access to assets, access to credit and PDS, public distribution system, and employment assurance schemes. There are so many schemes which government has made in order to reduce the poverty. These are some of the measures to eradicate the poverty from our country. MNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi Narega scheme, SGSY, SGSRY. These are some of the elevation programs implemented by the government of India. Next is unemployment. Unemployment is a situation wherein people are unemployed. There are different types of unemployment: frictional, structural, cyclical, and seasonal unemployment. There are some of the measures to reduce unemployment also, as like we have done in the poverty also. Same programs were initiated by the government for reducing the unemployment rate also. Mahatma Gandhi. NREGA scheme, giving more tax benefits, encouraging more for the startups, conducting vocational training programs, encouraging more foreign direct investment, encouraging foreign companies to set up their industries in the India, and last but not the least is improving the educational standard and the skills. So thank you. Hope you like my video and kindly subscribe and watch it. Thank you.